Good morning. Welcome to new members actually. It's been a long time since I recorded anything, so I'm getting back into it. I'll tell you another day why that's been the case, but we're back. And I asked you what we want to talk about, and thank you for everybody who replied and for the comments in the Be the Change Facebook group. And many of you said yes to talking about the law of attraction. So that's where we're going to start. But first of all, I just want to kind of tell you a story about me and my writing. So if you followed me for a while, you'll know the story that I've always wanted to write. I just loved to journal. I love to pick up a pen and express whatever's inside. And I've done that for years. And I've always wanted to write magazine articles and at best a book. And I never did it. I was like 20 years in leadership roles and was busy with that, busy with a family, excuses. But that passion was always there. I just never acted on it. And it was a number of things. It was probably, I didn't focus on it. So I buried it probably because of fear and lack of faith that what I had to say would be of any interest whatsoever to anybody and scared of judgment. So I just didn't do anything. Fast forward to, I'm in my 40s and, well, I'm 40, I think. And I get access to what I now do and I change careers. And what I realise is, you can spend your time worrying about what people think and not following or doing anything that you're passionate about. Or you can go, do you know what? I care more about my love of writing and sharing it than what people might say. And that's a choice you can make. Isn't it simple? Like, I work with people now. I was speaking to somebody the other week and he said, I love reading and I'm so sad because I've got hundreds of books on my shelf that I will die before I read. And I was like, why? Why is that the case? And we got to the bottom of it and we kept working through it and we realised that actually he was choosing to watch TV every night and leave his books on the shelf. He was just in the habit of not doing what he loved to do. Now for him it was an easy switch. Stop watching Netflix box sets and spend a couple of nights doing what you love and reading the books on your shelf. For me it wasn't as simple because it wasn't just changing a habit, it was actually getting out my own way and saying, I'll happily write and I won't be scared what people think. So I started to do it, and the first blog I wrote was the thing in my life at that time was traveling all over the world with this big, busy, crazy job. And the thing that I kind of was good at was keeping healthy and fit while I was traveling. So I blogged about that. That was my first blog. How to stay fit and healthy when you travel for work, something like that. Catchy title, right? And I spent weeks editing, it was like a 2-page blog, editing and rewriting it. And thankfully a friend of mine had an online magazine, Sharp, Kate Moody, thank you. And she said, I want to publish some of your blogs and we'll start with the first one, send it to me. And I get it now, it's no big deal. Then I'm like holding on tight. I sent it to her, it went in a magazine. I read it like another 10 times, even though I knew it by heart. And I'm thinking, oh God, people are going to hate it. People are going to criticize me. What are people going to think? What are my family going to think? The point is, I'm all wrapped up in my own shit and no one cares. No one really cares. I did get a couple of nice comments saying I made people laugh. It was helpful. But no one cares. And I got so much joy. One person emailed and said I made her laugh out loud with that article. And it made my absolute month. Like, I cried when I got the email. That's how much it meant to me that I touched one person with something I wrote. So something I'd buried for 20 years that meant so much to me. How often do we do that? And now it's like, what I was hitting is what we call in what I teach, we call it the terror barrier. So we hit this wall of fear and we don't always recognize it as out and out fear. We kind of pretend it's not, like we hide it we tell a story about, well, I'm busy with my leadership career, I'll write one day, or I don't really want to do it anyway. So, if we go for it, like I did eventually, 20 years after wanting to do it, you hit the terror barrier. And at that point, you're either going to kind of retreat and say, no, I'm not going to do it and give yourself a get out, or you're going to go through the terror barrier. But what's on the other side of the terror barrier is your growth. So you're now different. Whenever you face a fear, you're now different. You've gone through a terror barrier out the other side. And on that side, if you imagine yourself just growing like this as a level, on the other side, you've grown and you'll never go back. So now I write blogs. I write them all the time. In fact, one of the jobs I now have to do as part of running my own business is to blog. And I'm trying not to lose the joy of it, and not see it as a job or a chore, because I still absolutely love it. So what has all this got to do with law of attraction, which is what you really wanted to talk about? Well, I'm going to start small with the law of attraction, and I'll do a couple of videos on this topic, but it's linked to the writing story. So I'd really always wanted to write a book as well, and at some point that will happen. And so I now do what I do. I coach people, I facilitate training programs to help people, deal with their fear, do what they want, feel better, get their mojo back, stop feeling anxious, go for the goals they want to do. I do all of that now. So obviously I apply all of this to my own life. And one of the things we talk about is, you get what you focus on. So whatever you focus on all day long, whatever you think about most, that's what you get in life. And most people just think the same thoughts that they thought yesterday and the day before that, and they wake up and kind of move through life like asleep and on autopilot, never really thinking or focusing on anything outside of what you can see all around you. And the law of attraction starts with something very simple, which is you have to start with a vision. You have to start with knowing what you want. And I wanted to write this book, any book, be a published author for years. So following my own advice, I thought, well, I've parked that for a while, and I told my story was I'm setting up a business. My priority has to be building this business, working with people, serving clients, and the book will be kind of secondary to that. But I've been doing it a few years now, and I thought, well, at some point this book has to become an actual goal. So it was a goal, but I wasn't thinking about it every day. I wasn't focusing on it. It was just something I might do one day. So at the beginning of this year then I said, right, you've got to decide what this goal is. So I made the goal like quite kind of general, and I said, I want to be a published author. I want to be able to share my voice with hundreds of thousands of people and have them hear it. That was kind of it. It was a published author, share my voice with lots of people. And that's what I focused on. I focused on that as a vision. I didn't think about the how, like what am I going to write about? Who's going to publish me? To start with, it was just what's the goal? Because part of the fun and part of the creative process, the way we actually should go about things, we think we have to have a plan and we put a goal down and we immediately start figuring out all the tiny details. We do have to take action at some point. I can't just sit and think about that goal. But I allowed it to sit for a while, and I allowed myself to say, just tell your mind that that's the goal, and I'm open to how that's going to happen. It might be a book about fitness and weight management, which is my absolute passion. It might be about nutrition, which is another passion. It might be about mindset, which is my absolute passion. And I didn't know, but I just stuck with the goal. I want to be an author. It wasn't best-selling. I want to be an author who reaches hundreds of thousands of people with my voice. I want to be able to share my voice with hundreds of thousands of people. And I focused on that for a few weeks. It was part of my other goal visualization that I do. I take my mind there every day, morning and night and throughout the day. In fact, my clients and I, we have a goal card that we carry with our goal on there. So anytime you look at it, it brings the image to mind. And a few weeks in, I get an email from somebody on LinkedIn who I've never met. She lives in Singapore. And she said, we are bringing together 20 plus women, and we want them to share their story. We want them to contribute to a book, and we read your profile, we see what you do, and we think you would be a really great fit. We see you are in a leadership role, and that transition from being in like an organization, large global organization in the corporate environment, to being an entrepreneur is like very different, and that might be a story that people want to hear about. So knowing that I have a goal of writing a book, the answer as to, shouldn't I do this was like, it was an easy decision because that's what I was sent. I asked for a book. I asked for the opportunity to write a book. I didn't know how that was going to present itself. But the minute I set the goal and started focusing on it, that's what I attracted. That's what came forward. And that is the law of attraction. That's what happened. I didn't try and manipulate exactly what that book was going to look like or how. Now, if I'd said I want to write a book about nutrition and I want to be the sole author, that's a different goal. But you see, I wrote the goal around reaching hundreds of thousands of people with my voice. That was kind of it. And then I'm open to whatever I see, and whatever the universe, if you like that or not, you will by the end of this, sends me. And when I speak to you about these examples of magic, which are not really magic, it's a formula, and I'll come on and tell you more from my life and my client's life. You start to see that it is a formula. It's not magic at all. And get this, the book is called My Voice. You probably know that by now. My book. So, long story short, I contribute. It's only a chapter. It's a chapter of. There's 23 other women who've contributed. Mine's a 2,000-word chapter, and the book is called My Voice. And that's the goal that I set. I want to be able to reach people with my voice. So there's all of these gorgeous synchronicities, and that's the starting point. If you haven't got a goal, you're not asking for anything. You're not attracting anything. So that's step one. And there's lots of steps through this, and I'm going to kind of talk to you about some of the myths around the law of attraction, because law of attraction is really the secondary law. The law, the root cause, the root law is the law of vibration. Because we don't attract just what we think about, we attract what we feel, how we feel. And there's a great quote which I will use over and over again. You've got to assume the feeling of your goal fulfilled. It's actually your wish fulfilled. Assume the feeling of it. So it's not just think about it, you've got to take your mind and your body to the place where it's here. That's me for now. I don't want to give you a really long video to listen to, but I'll jump back on and keep going with this. Let me know what you think. Let me know if this is the kind of thing we want to talk about, and if not, we can switch. There's a whole bunch of topics, and we've got them in the group, so we can definitely get to them at some point. Have a great day for now, and thanks for listening. See you soon. Bye.